Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today, we're tackling a question many of you have been asking. Is Opendoor Technologies a good time to buy now? Before we jump into it, if you're enjoying our discussions, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, maybe leave a comment. And hey, if there's a specific company you'd like us to look into, just let us know in the comments below. We do read them. So, Opendoor Technologies. They operate as the largest pure-play iBuyer in the U.S., basically using their own tech to make instant offers on homes. It's a really interesting tech-first approach to real estate. Our mission today is to sift through the latest data, news, and expert analysis to help you understand its current position and maybe what the future holds.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex landscape. This business model, it's inherently sensitive to, well, everything. The housing market, economic shifts, you name it. And looking at the sources, we've got some contrasting viewpoints and some pretty crucial details to unpack. It's definitely more than just the headlines suggest.
Okay, let's unpack this. And what do the recent numbers tell us? How's Opendoor looking financially and, competitively? Let's start with revenue and profitability. They've certainly been busy. For the first half of 2025, Opendoor reported revenue of just over $4 billion. $4.01 billion. And if we zoom into the second quarter of 2025, revenue hit $1.6 billion. Now, that's not just a big number. It's actually up 4% year over year.
Right.
And a pretty significant 36% jump quarter over quarter. So they are moving inventory.
They are moving inventory, definitely. But here's where it gets, well, tricky. Profitability. That's still the key challenge. We're seeing gross margins for the home reselling part of the business hovering around, a pretty thin 3%.
Only 3%? Wow.
Yeah. And when you look at net losses for Q2 2025, there's even some disagreement in the reports. One source says a net loss of $78 million. Another one reports a narrower net loss, $29 million. So a bit of a range there.
Interesting discrepancy. But there's some positive news on that front, wasn't there?
There was. A significant positive, actually. Opendoor achieved adjusted EBITDA profitability.
Adjusted EBITDA.
Exactly. $23 million in Q2 2025. That's earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, adjusted for, certain items. Hitting that mark is a big deal for them. It's the first time since 2022.
Okay.
So it does signal perhaps some improved operational discipline.
Right, getting leaner.
But management's guidance for the full year 2025 emphasizes profitability, yet actually achieving sustained positive net earnings. Well, that remains uncertain, especially with those housing market headwinds we mentioned and, frankly, those razor-thin margins.
That 3% gross margin really jumps out. I mean, in an industry where maybe 6-8% is more the target.
Absolutely. They're running incredibly lean on each transaction. That adjusted EBITDA profit feels less like robust health and more like an amazing feat of cost control.
Like running a marathon on fumes.
Pretty much. It shows they can tighten the belt, but the fundamental economics of making enough profit per home, that's still the mountain they have to climb. And that tension between rising revenue, which is good, and those net losses, especially if you lean towards the higher $78 million figure, it just highlights that even with efficiency gains, the core model is still burning cash when you factor in everything, like capital costs.
You nailed it with that razor-thin margin being the core issue. And in real estate, that's amplified by the huge amount of capital needed, right? So let's pivot to their financial health overall. The cash situation. How are they managing? As of June 30, 2025, Opendoor reported total debt of $4.37 billion. That sounds like a lot.
It is a big number, but importantly, most of this is supported by asset-backed facilities. Meaning it's collateralized by their home inventory. The houses themselves back the loans, which is pretty standard for this kind of business.
Okay, so there are assets behind it. What about cash on hand?
They held $385 million in cash and cash equivalents. But, and this is key, operating cash flow was negative $130 million for the first half of 2025. That really shows the substantial working capital needed for this inventory-heavy model. They need cash to buy homes before they can sell them.
So while near-term liquidity seems okay, maybe, that a persistent cash burn plus rising interest rates, that could be risky if homes start selling slower, couldn't it?
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Opendoor scale gives them an edge, yes, but it also makes them incredibly exposed to those macro factors in housing. That debt structure, while common, means they have to turn over homes quickly. So the big question is, how well can they manage that inventory turnover and the financing costs that come with it in, well, an unpredictable market? Especially if operating cash flow stays negative. Every day a house sits, it costs them more.
And what about competition? You mentioned scale as an advantage.
It is. They are the largest pure-play iBuyer in the U.S. Their scale, their data, their brand recognition, those are real advantages. They basically created this market segment.
But it's not like they're alone.
Oh, definitely not. It's a tough space. High competition from Zillow, Redfin, OfferPad. They're all fighting for deals. Plus, the entire iBuyer concept is just inherently vulnerable to housing market swings and mortgage rate volatility. We've seen that play out dramatically.
Yeah, it's baked into the model itself, isn't it?
It really is. The whole thing relies on buying at the right price to allow for that quick, profitable flip. Any major shift throws a wrench in the works. It's like trying to manage a high-speed conveyor belt. If it slows down, the costs just pile up fast.
Okay, so that's the fundamental picture. Now, this is where it gets really interesting for potential investors, right? The stock itself. What's the price action telling us? How's the market feeling about Opendoor right now?
Looking at recent activity, leading up to late August 2025, Opendoor traded between about $3.80 and $5.40. The price reported August 29th was $4.45, but then things changed.
They certainly did.
In September, the shares surged, a remarkable 16.2% in just one day. Closed at $5.96, even hit a 52-week high intraday of $6.07. That definitely signals a big wave of market optimism, wouldn't you say? Oh, absolutely, a significant surge. But let's look at the technicals a bit deeper. Near-term support seems to be around that $4 to $4.20 level. Resistance may be $5.40 to $5.60. However, the broader technical indicators, well, they paint a slightly different picture.
How so?
The stock is still trading below its 50-day and 200-day simple moving averages. Traditionally, that suggests the underlying trend is still down.
Okay.
And the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, it's been neutral to slightly bearish, kind of hovering in the 40 to 50 range, not really overbought or oversold. And the MCD, that momentum indicator, hasn't shown a clear bullish signal, no strong crossover yet.
So mixed signals then.
Yeah.
Recent surge, but underlying weakness.
Pretty much. And what is clear is the high volatility. Sharp swings, especially around earnings or big sector news. Definitely not a stock for the faint of heart.
That's a really important point, though. While that recent surge looks great and shows renewed interest, those longer-term technicals still flashing caution. It makes you wonder, right? Is this recent jump just short-term momentum, maybe tied to news?
I think that's a fair assessment. It feels more driven by sentiment and perhaps specific events rather than a fundamental shift in the underlying technical trend, which still leans bearish.
Right. And speaking of news, let's talk sentiment. In August 2025, Opendoor regained Nasdaq compliance. That was big.
Huge. They kept the closing bid price above $1 for 12 straight business days. Critical for staying listed, calmed a lot of nerves.
Definitely. But what about the analysts? Are they jumping on board?
Not really. Coverage seems cautious overall. The consensus rating is still hold. There are even some sell ratings out there. We haven't seen many upgrades in 2025.
Okay, so Wall Street is still hesitant. What about insiders? Executives, directors, are they buying?
That's another interesting piece. Based on the Form 4 filings, the mandatory reports.
Yeah.
From April to August 2025, insider sales have actually outweighed purchases.
Ooh, that's usually not seen as a great sign, is it? People closest to the company selling more than buying.
Generally, yeah. It can suggest a cautious outlook from those who know the business best. Doesn't automatically mean disaster, but coupled with cautious analysts, it adds a layer of skepticism.
And what about the buzz online? Retail investors.
It's pretty mixed there, too. You see division in the forums. Some are skeptical, worried about the cash burn, the housing risks. Others are optimistic, focusing on the tech disruption angle.
So putting it all together, we got this recent share price excitement, the crucial Nasdaq compliance news.
Right.
But then weighed against cautious analysts, insider selling, and divided retail sentiment. It's a real tug of war.
It absolutely is. A very complex picture for investors trying to gauge the real sentiment.
Okay, let's turn our gaze forward then. What's coming up? What are the potential game changers, catalysts, or risks that could, move the needle for Opendoor? Starting short term, what are the key events we should be watching?
Well, number one, absolutely, is the Q3 2025 earnings release, expected in October. And this is critical because management has actually guided for a substantial decrease in revenue for Q3.
A decrease after that Q2 jump? That's surprising.
It is. It sets the stage for a real test. Can they maintain that sequential adjusted EBITDA profitability, even with sales potentially dropping off? Their operational flexibility is really under the microscope here.
So that Q3 report is make or break for showing if the cost cutting is sustainable when revenue shrinks.
Precisely. Beyond that, October might bring some institutional buying activity. November has ETF rebalancing reviews. Both could impact trading volume, especially now they're safely listed on Nasdaq again.
Okay.
Macro data, always. Changes in mortgage rates, positive home sales trends. Anything that helps the broader housing sector could give Opendoor a short-term sentiment boost. There's also the holiday housing trend report coming in November. That'll give us clues about year-end activity. And then late December, we'll be watching for preliminary Q4 guidance. Clarity on growth, inventory health, and again, profitability will be key.
That Q3 revenue guidance decrease really stands out. It feels like their operational discipline is about to face its toughest test yet.
It absolutely does. The market's recent optimism might be tested if that revenue drop is steep. Staying profitable on that adjusted EBITDA line, despite a shrinking top line, that will be the story.
Got it. Now, looking longer term, what could really change the game for them?
Well, continued improvements to their algorithms that's core to their business, better pricing accuracy could directly boost those thin resale margins.
That makes sense.
A broader recovery or even just stabilization in the U.S. housing market would obviously be huge. That could bring back iBuyer transaction volumes across the board. And maybe, favorable regulatory or tax changes related to home sales that could always help create a better operating environment.
It's fascinating how many external factors really drive their fate, isn't it? Economic data, market trends, alongside their internal execution.
Exactly. Their business model is like a ship navigating very choppy water sometimes. And those Q3 earnings, given the guidance, feel like a really crucial navigational check. It's a moment of truth for their efficiency strategy. And those long-term things like algorithm upgrades, they're vital for improving the structural profitability, not just cutting costs temporarily.
Yeah, it sounds like a really high-stakes environment, innovation versus market forces. But with opportunity comes risk. Let's be clear about the downsides. What are the key risk factors here?
Okay, stock-specific risks first. The model is just incredibly sensitive to home price swings, how quickly they can sell, inventory liquidity, and those resale margins we keep talking about. The persistent net losses and negative cash flow raise those ongoing questions about ever reaching sustainable profit. And relying on debt to fund inventory, that means refinancing risk and interest rate risk, especially if rates stay higher or go higher.
Right, and what about broader market risks?
Well, the big one is a housing market downturn. If rising rates, affordability issues, or a recession hit hard, iBuyer volumes could just plummet. That's a major headwind. And competition isn't going away. Intense threats from bigger players or even new disruptive entrants could squeeze those margins even further.
It really is a tough space, almost like trying to run a high-volume business with houses as your inventory, inherently tricky.
That sensitivity to home prices is just paramount. Their whole calculation depends on buying right and selling quickly for a small profit. If market prices dip even slightly between buying and selling,
It wipes out that tiny margin.
instantly. Imagine buying apples, planning for a 3% markup, but the price of apples drops 5% before you sell. It's devastating for that kind of model.
Okay, so we've weighed the financials, the market action, the catalysts, the risks. Let's try to synthesize this. What's the overall picture for Opendoor Technologies right now? I saw one analysis gave it a 4 out of 10 rating. That sounds pretty cautious.
It does. And the rationale kind of reflects everything we've discussed. The advantages are clear. Number one, pure play iBuyer, unique data, potential upside from a housing market rebound eventually. But those positives are heavily offset by the challenges. The thin margins, the negative cash flow, the consistent net losses, and just how vulnerable the whole model is to housing cycles. Plus, the technicals and insider selling we talked about, they suggest limited conviction in the near term.
So the conclusion there was more suited for short-term trading on volatility rather than the long-term buy and hold, at least for now.
That seems to be the takeaway, yeah. Until the company can really demonstrate sustained profitability and better margins, it looks more like a speculative play or a trade based on news and sentiment swings.
What I'm hearing is, look, there's definitely some near-term confidence bubbling up, maybe from demand for tech and real estate, maybe from Opendoor's own operational improvements getting noticed.
Right.
But investor focus is going to stay laser sharp on that EBITDA performance. Their capital discipline, can they manage cash? And any surprise news like partnerships or big institutional moves, it's very much a show-me story.
Absolutely. The market needs proof of consistent net profitability, not just adjusted figures.
And of course, no stock discussion is complete without rumors and speculation, right? What's the chatter out there?
Well, there's ongoing talk about a potential strategic partnership, maybe with a major real estate platform that could massively boost their reach.
Interesting.
Rumors also hint at big improvements coming to their AI pricing or customer platforms, ways to speed up deals, get more revenue per transaction. There's also market chatter about expansion into new cities, untapped metro areas in the U.S. That could fuel growth. And finally, whispers about potential private equity interest or maybe a REIT getting involved, strategic stakes, asset deals, that kind of thing. Always floats around with companies like this.
If we connect that back, the speculative nature of these rumors really underlines the risk level for long-term investors, doesn't it?
It really does. While things like partnerships or better AI sound great, they are just rumors for now. It highlights that the path to solid, consistent profit isn't guaranteed yet. This is definitely a company that needs constant watching. Savvy investors will be tracking those operational metrics very closely against the housing market backdrop. These rumors could be game changers or they could just fizzle out. It really feels like they're at a crossroads.
It's clear Opendoor presents a really fascinating but definitely complex investment case. You've got these recent operational gains sparking some optimism, but those core profitability issues and market sensitivities are still big hurdles. It's very dynamic.
It really raises an important question, I think. For you listening right now, what's the most compelling piece of information we discussed? And maybe more importantly, what would you need to see from Opendoor in the next few quarters to feel more confident about its long-term future?
Definitely food for thought. Well, thank you for joining us for this look into Opendoor Technologies. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And please let us know if there's another company you'd like us to analyze next time. Until then, happy investing.